We back. Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And let's start the show because we have an amazing guest. This basketball head is a Brooklyn native on a mission to change the way mental health is approached in sports. She is a basketball coach, a facilitator, a mental health advocate, certified MHFA instructor. Want to make sure I get that right. A yoga teacher, artist, and motivational speaker. Listen, I saw her at the Queen Me, New York City Basketball 101 tournament. And listen, she gave a speech that was incredible. I said I had to have this young lady on the show. So, let me continue with all the work that she have done. She is a mental health awareness trainer for coaches. She also has a petition out, all right? Y'all can find it on my page and on her page as well. So let's make sure we sign that and get behind her and make sure we do the right thing. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show the founder of Get Fit, Fly Right, the Athlete Project, and 533 Meditation. And so, welcome to the show, Coach D. Williams.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. East Coast, go hard. West Coast, go hard. Midwest, go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody, get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's happening, Coach?
Many blessings. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good. I hear you good.
Bless. Yeah, I'm at the Post BK right now. You know the grind don't stop. Had the multitask.
Okay, but at the same
So I'm
time,
blessed.
Okay.
Right, exactly. All,
What's
you know,
going on
God
over
is
there?
divine, all in alignment. So right now I'm with one of my partners. We got an open run for the kids. So I was supposed to get on the court today, but I chose to keep the glistening glow just right for the live. I didn't want to give you the sweat drip.
And I wonder where it is because I think he was copping this at the same time as you
That's
were
a
giving
fact.
your speech to the ladies, you know. So I
That's
definitely
a
want to
fact.
represent that. So I want to jump right into this, Coach D. Who introduced you to
Bless.
the game?
Woo, Miss Carroll, 1993. I was watching a Chicago Bulls game and she was cussing a lot and I didn't understand why. And then I'm from Brownsville, Cephalo Projects. 2 years later.
Cephalo represent.
Yes, 157. And so they built the basketball court and I kept asking my mother, could I go? And she was like, no. And so I would go to Miss Carroll's house to watch Knicks games. That was Dominique's first introduction to basketball.
Wow. Let's salute to Miss Carroll.
Facts. That's a fact.
That's right. So, you done answer the second question. Where you from in Cephalo? My guy brought some Helter Skelter. I think it's from Cephalo as well. Yeah.
I mean, I like to say I'm from all. Yeah, I like to say I'm from all of Brooklyn because I lived in Cephalo for some time. Then I lived in East New York. Then I lived in the South. I now live in Bushwick. I did some time in Crown Heights. So, you know, all of the east side of Brooklyn is really my home.
Okay. Did you play high school ball?
So here's the story with that. I played my freshman year, cracked my knee my sophomore year, tried to come back my junior year, didn't like the coach. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go work with the babies. And I've been working with kids ever since.
That's right. And listen, going through the injury that you had, it probably wasn't like career changing, right? But,
no, it was.
Oh, okay. So walk me through it because
I bet.
it's part of what you do right now.
That's a whole fact. It is a part of this. Is how the song go? This is my story. This is my song. All right.
That's right. That's right.
So 16 November we were playing Wingate. I never forget. November 21st, 2003. I'll never forget. And I was playing my sister's school. I was so amped because my sister actually came to the game. And I went to cross the ball. And I tore my ACL right there. And I was so stubborn, I wouldn't let them call the ambulance. I was like, nah, I'm staying for the game. By the time I got home, my knee was the size of my thigh. My mother cursing my coach out because she's like, how do you let a child determine what to do? Long story short, that following February, because I kept trying to push it. And my uncle was like, shout out to Uncle Henry. He was like, nah, something's wrong because she can't run right. And, you know, the mind is powerful. So I kept telling myself, nah, I'm not in pain. I'm good. I was in a lot of pain.
Right.
The doctor was like, if I had kept playing on it, I wouldn't have had no knee. I would have needed a full complete knee reconstruction. So in February of that following year, I got orthoscopic knee surgery, but I got a screw in my leg. And then I had 10 years later, I had another surgery, and then 6 months after that, I had another surgery. So my meniscus, my ACL, my PCL, my MCL, at some point, have all been ripped and or torn. And so fast forward, it was like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't really play, right? I can't play at an elite level. So I decided to coach. Now at this point, I've been coaching for about 7 years, between 19 and 26. So when I hurt my knee again, I was like, okay, wait, no, something's not right. Something is not right. I was taking care of my kids. I was taking care of my program, but I wasn't doing the best at taking care of my mind or my body.
Right.
And so I had a friend that talked to me about metaphysical medicine and understanding how our body is connected not only to our brain, but our emotions and our energy. And I was like, I don't really know. But I'll give it a look. At this point, I'm willing to try anything because I got 3 teams, 2 assistant coaches under me. I'm really trying to build this program, and I can't walk. Like, I have a cane at 26 years old. And she told me, she said, you know, the knee is about changing direction and how we move. And so when you think about the purpose of the knee, especially in basketball, it allows us to change direction. And so when we're rigid and we're not flexible in how we're able to see ourselves and have perspective in the things that is going on around us, it hinders our ability to be able to pivot. And in basketball, pivoting is very important. And in basketball, when you pivot wrong or you land wrong on your leg, what happens? You crack your leg, you crack your knee. So I took that in, and I was like, you know, I had to really reevaluate myself, my program, what I was doing, as well as my mental health. At the time, at 26 years old, by this time, both my parents had passed away, and I was homeless at this time. A lot of people didn't know that. And so I was like, you know,
hold on, let's slow down. You know, I think we speed through this real too fast. All right, I want to slow you down real quick. I want to go back to the emotional state you was in, knowing you couldn't play anymore.
Oh, you're getting the good questions.
Yes, because this is what you do. Like, I think.
No, of course.
And you may help someone.
No, I'm here with it.
Going through it.
No, you're absolutely right. So I had a complete identity crisis at 17 and then again at 27. Complete identity crisis. The emotional state that I would say that I was in was one that was, as I said about my knee, I was very inflexible. I was rigid. I was all or nothing minded. Either this is going to be the thing or I'm a failure, I'm done, I'm going to die. Like, it was really like all or nothing in my mind. And so my emotional state was, I would say, very dismissive to the real things that I needed to be very vulnerable and open with myself about. You know, being strong is only, in my opinion, beneficial when one can be in balance, right? And so what do I mean by that? Well, I can be strong when it's time to lift a heavy bag, but strength looks different. And what I needed at that time was to learn how to, one, set boundaries with the people in my life. As a coach, I was giving, and I wasn't receiving that back. So that only further perpetuated the, you know, just the emotional state of inadequacy and me feeling like I was a failure, not feeling worthy, feeling like I'm giving all I got and not getting nothing back, so it must be me. I completely questioned myself as a coach. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe this isn't what I should be doing. And so, you know, I had many a time where I was questioning who I was. My identity is basketball really the thing for me. And then I came across yoga and I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Real, that's real. So, you know, during that period, who were some of the people that you was watching, you know, that came up in Brownsville or around the area that you came up in?
I'm going to be honest, nobody. Nobody had a story like mine. I'm 6'3", real talk. But when you ask other people, you know what I'm saying? Okay? When you see, even Julia laughing, Shelby laughing. Right, Coach is 6'3", right? Coach is 6'3"? Oh, you're not going to lie for me? That's cool. You're not going to lie on camera for me? That's cool. 6'9"? Yes! 6'9". So, you feel me? Right. But, you know, but in real life, you know, my presence is that big, but I'm not at all that tall. And so, yeah, like, let's just be real. No one had a story like mine where I was injured, I didn't play, now I'm coaching. I was one of the first, I won't say first, but one of, yeah, well, no, I was one of the first, like, females coaching boys. There was me, Lovelace, and Becky Hammond. And, you know, I look like my boys. Like, if you saw me 10 years, I mean, I look 23 now. But if you saw me 10 years ago, I look 17 like them. So I got no respect. There was no one that was like hood and like professional. Like I carry my duality with pride. There was no one from the hood that was, you know, from where I was from, that was a woman that was looking to coach boys the way that I was. And, you know, I looked up to Pat Summitt. I would watch old tapes of Phil Jackson working out with Dennis Rodman because I wanted to figure out, okay, how do I get my boys to, like, just not be stressed? How do I get them? They were a reflection of me. It was like, how do I get them to feel loved, to feel like they got family? I needed a family. So I looked to them. You know, my mentors were my kids. Roger and Mills and Justin and Poppy and Ty and, you know, Leo, you know, my assistant coach, Leon. Like, my kids, they were my mentors. You know, I looked to them, and I always believed that attitude was a reflection of leadership. So all that I needed was to pay attention to them, you know, to be a better leader, to know and be affirmed in what I was doing by looking at them and seeing them grow and prosper. And then when it got to a point where they had outgrown me, I was like, oh, I get to rethink this for myself now. And that's how mental health came about.
Right. What I was going to ask you is, other than you get injured, what was the other reasons why you went into coaching?
God.
Okay.
God, because I didn't plan it. I promise you I didn't plan it. I do have a quick story. I went to Eastern District High School, also known as Grand Street Campus. Legal. Shout out to my legal heads. There was a kid. I worked for the St. Nicholas Alliance. And this was my senior year. Ball was done for me as a player. I was like, I'm over it. I want to get money now. And this kid, Isaiah, he played ball. He was like, and that's when they used to call me Miss Damo. And we were in the gym. You know the after-school programs where the kids. And so I had him, and, you know, we was just shooting around. And so I had taught him, my uncle, he's short too, so he had taught me the little scoop shot. So I was like, yo, let me teach him a little scoop shot. And would you believe this little mother, he beat me with the move I just taught him. And I got bit by something. I was like, I had goosebumps I lie to you not, I had goosebumps everywhere. And I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. So shout out to Isaiah, St. Nick's Alliance.
No doubt. Salute Isaiah. That's the motivation. Sometimes we need that motivation, right? And we never know where it's going to come from.
Never know.
Come from somebody who's younger than us that we're trying to inspire, and then they turn around and inspire us.
Yeah, I mean, but that's usually how it works, right? Like, I feel like my entire coaching philosophy has been that. Even exchanges. And anyone that's ever had a close conversation with me, They know that. Like, I'm about even exchanges in every relationship that I have. And it's not to say an eye for an eye, but the exchange in energy is even. It's balanced. The exchange in love, the exchange in resources, it's an exchange. Because we're spending this time together. We're exchanging our time and space. And so for me, that's always been critical, you know, to make sure that I'm being inspired as much as I want to inspire. Me personally, I feel like that whole, like, I want to be this is more of like, nah, just go out and do it. And if there's something you want to do in life, go out and be it. And I think that's how, you know, you really, really get inspiration as an energy and not a desire or this external thing that validates you. You know, we're human. We need to feel recognition and we need validation. I think the way that we get that authentically is by being really, really honest about what it is that we're doing and why.
Right. What is that conversation like when you come across an injured athlete? Right? You know, just give me some of the things that up to your mind and some of the words you might have since you went through the whole process.
So this is perfect plug. So if there are any coaches that are listening, what I do is I facilitate wellness sessions. So I facilitate sessions just like that. What I have in the Athlete Project, so Get Fit Fly Right is my brand, but the Athlete Project is a curriculum. And so what we have is an emotional intelligence module. And one of them speaks directly to depression and injury. Usually injury is associated with depression because it's a loss of identity or a change in one's perception of their identity. And so what I would immediately say to that player is I would say triple C. And they'd be like, what's that, coach? What are your choices in the situation? What has changed for you? And what are the commitments that you are faced with every day? And how will you navigate them? So choices, changes, and commitments, when we are faced with understanding that something has changed in our lives, we have a choice. We get to identify what's in front of us so that way we can choose for us. Then we move on to the changes. We have to acknowledge the things that have changed, how we feel, the effects of the change, how we may have to navigate the change and change because of the changes. You know what I'm saying? And then moving forward to our commitments. Every day we got a commitment. When we rise, we have a commitment to brush your teeth or not brush your teeth, to take a moment and just breathe or not, to rush and get on your phone or take a moment for yourself, to check those emails or to put them off till tomorrow. So it's the same thing. And so when we're dealing with depression, that's more on a more serious mental state where we're now talking about a dysfunction in mood. And a mood in such a state of dysfunction that it now disrupts our daily lives. And so that looks like someone who's sleeping a lot. That may look like with athletes, especially who are withdrawn or who are, I don't care no more, I don't care no more, I don't care no more. Right? Because to dismiss is easy. I was there. I used to dismiss a lot of things because it was just easy to not think about. And so how we get our athletes as well as our coaches, attitudes, a reflection of leadership, to think about, okay, what is it that I want for myself? I have to back up. It's easy to think about what we want. The work and where the support is necessary at is really being present and then being honest. And so choices, changes, and commitments allows us to do that and really comb through that. And that's not a set of questions you can answer in a 5-minute conversation. I'm going to call out some of these popcorn coaches, as I like to call them. You can't send kids to the clinician when you're the one that they look up to. They're coming to you. So it's up to you to be able to have some sort of system or some sort of tool in your toolbox to be able to help them. And it's not encouraging words, contrary to popular belief. It's not telling them about your experience, because it doesn't matter. It's really about understanding emotions, mood, and personality in such a way that you can now motivate and provocate thought in this person, because they're going to be the only ones that's going to change their mind and their heart.
That's real. That's real. And you just answered my next question in that one question. So that's good. That one answer. So, you know, I've been working with kids who have been through illnesses for the last going on 20 years now. My high school is a special education high school, and we deal with all aspects of things of that nature, right? So this is very dear to me. This is not something that's just our interview. This is something that I invest my life in and help mentor kids outside of that. Right? So one of the things I wanted to bring up is one of the steps that players or anyone who want to overcome the stigma of having a mental illness. Right? Because a lot of people are afraid to confront a lot of their demons.
I mean,
So
I would definitely.
What steps can someone take?
I mean, and this one, this is coaching me, not the advocate. I'm definitely gonna say, make a choice. You know, when somebody is ready for change, it's gonna happen. My grandmama used to say, shout out to Christina. She used to say, baby, change don't happen till you're tired. And so what I would say is keep doing what you're doing until you're tired of it. And when you're tired, when you're really truly tired, and this goes for anybody, mental illness or not, whether they know or don't know, because we have a lot of people out there that are not aware of their mental health in the state and the state in which it's in the current moment, is ask yourself, are you tired? And are you really tired? Because when you're really tired, that's when you're ready. That's when you're ready for change. Step 2, reach out to a trusted support. And then step 3, and this is just me personally, when we say fighting demons, we also know what keeps those demons alive. We know. We ain't. My grandmama used to say, I listen to my grandma, moms a lot. I'm going to quote them. And so she would say a lot to me. She'd say, baby, the most time you're going to spend with anybody is yourself. Get to know them. And so I truly believe in that. Step 2, really getting to know, having that personal, honest conversation with yourself. And then step 3, take action. Consciousness requires action. Once you have those trusted supports, once you know you're tired and you have those trusted supports, take action. So that sounds like triple T. But yeah, you know, for me, what I would say what I did was I got rid of a lot of people. I had to get present with what my demons were. I had a friend say to me the other day, she said I had stitches in my forehead. And so that was really like nerve-wracking. And I was anxious. I don't like surgery. My first major surgery, my mother was right by my side. And every surgery after that, she was not. And I was in the hospital room alone. I woke up alone. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
it's a trigger for me. And so I'm sitting in this was like last month, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, he's taking the stitches out. And so she calls me, she asked me how did it go. And I was like, oh, you know, I just meditated, I focused on my moms, and I was listening to some jazz music. She was like, oh, the 3 M's. And I was like, the 3 M's? She was like, yeah, music, mommy, and meditation. And I was like, oh, wow. And so I almost shed a tear when she said that to me. Because 10 years ago, the friends that I had then, I used to say the 3 B's. And it used to be a bottle, and I'm gonna be real honest right now. A bottle, a blunt, and booty.
I hear you.
You know, at 25, that's what it was. I was like, you know what my stress reliever is? Weed, alcohol, and sex. And I had to learn that those were my demons. These were the things that, and they weren't my demons because it was alcohol, weed, and sex. They were my demons because what I was using it for. And that's what we get to understand. What I was using them for was to dismiss my pain, to not feel different, to not be treated as different, or to not be seen as my life were a tragedy because both my parents died and now I'm homeless. I'm not a tragedy. I will fight you. But I also had to recognize that I also can't treat my life like a tragedy. Right? I had a woman tell me, her name is Judy, God bless her. She said to me, I got into one of my birthdays, I had a surprise party, I got into a really big fight. Came back to work, she said, you know, Dominique, you have to honor your life. I was like, She said, you have to honor your life by the way you live. You have to honor your mother by the way that you live. It hit me. And so, you know, I would say that would be the last thing that I would say to coaches and athletes is really honor your life. You know, whatever it is that you're living for, whoever it is that you're living for, you honor them by the way that you live. You know, you don't be the person that's like, nah, I'm wild grateful, but they don't never say thank you. The people that's always proud of you, but they ain't never around for the things they proud for. you know, you got to be accountable in that way. So, you know, that's definitely the, you know, the 3 T's, you know, really being tired and making that decision, finding trusted supports, and then taking action. Because you'll find that the things that kept you in those dark places, you had something to do with. I had something to do with feeling bad for myself. And there were things that I was doing that kept me feeling bad. And so now I do things that bring me back to feeling good. And I had to figure those things out.
That's real. That's real. Sometime last year, I had New York City legend Laura Milley on the show. She played for Christ the King. She played for Arizona State. She wrote a book called Psyche of the Injured Athlete. I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right. Some of the same things that you talked about in the book, and just focus mainly on after the athlete gets done with an injury or once the career is over, right? Mm-hmm. I had Temple Whitehead on the show. He talked about wanting to commit suicide, mm-hmm. right? We had and he's a successful high school teacher, high school coach, doing very well for himself now. I got Jamal Robinson, who's that. Well, he's a start at Clancy, then he goes to Virginia, plays in the ACC, mm-hmm. and he goes through some emotional problems. He said, mm-hmm. I stayed in dark rooms, I didn't want nobody to see me. Very, very, very down time in his life. Now I'm tired of that. Now he's a successful college coach at LaSalle University. A lot of top players and coaches go through these things. Only a few talk about it. So I'm glad you get a chance to talk. So maybe other people who hear our conversation won't be so much afraid to come out and talk. No?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the stigma with mental health is really a farce, right? We live in a capitalistic society. You can't capitalize on people knowing that they can heal themselves. Right. You can't capitalize off of society. The perception is that you can't. And so if we understand that mental hygiene, and that's why I've coined that phrase, mental hygiene, mental wellness is every day, and it's for everybody. Yeah. One quote that, you know, that I say a lot within the Athlete Project is everybody has a brain and everyone has a mind. We must train both. And that's for everyone. When I teach in my wellness courses or my mental health classes, what I ask is, who brushed their teeth this morning? Everybody says, and then I'm like, ooh, who flossed? Who like me? Who gargled? Me, some hands go down. Who scraped their tongue? I got some more proud people, more hands go down. And then I asked, who did that for their brain? And most everyone's hand goes down. You have one or two. Because only few of us understand that mental wellness is about hygiene. It's a daily commitment and an intention to clean your mind. Check your emotions. Gargle your energy. Do you like the way that you feel? Don't go outside like that. And so if more and more people are aware that it's not the world that makes them feel the way that they feel, but it's them who make them feel the way that they feel, and then they go out into the world, and the world only reinforces what they came into it with. Now we have more and more people who are getting support, more and more people who are supported, and more people who are supporting themselves.
That's fact. I go through the same thing with my kids. I ask them, what's the purpose of the book, right? What's the purpose of a phone? What's the purpose of the watch? And then I ask them, what's their purpose?
Right.
Everything has a purpose. Yep. And you know what that purpose is. You gotta figure out your purpose.
Yep. Yep.
And that's one of the first things I teach in my mentor classes.
Yep.
Finding out your purpose. And it helps you to dig deep into yourself.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I would even contend to say it forces you to dig deep into yourself, right? I like to use the word purpose interchangeable with life. You know, I had a friend, very near and dear to me, my sister, but we're no longer friends. And I remember saying to her, you don't know your life. And it was the same thing, your purpose. When you don't know your purpose or your life, what happens is you allow darkness to be the thing that propels you, the thing that is your purpose, essentially. And it's not because you want to. No one wants to be that. It's just an effect of not knowing your life. You're wandering, you're lost. And so sometimes you have to be aware of the light and darkness around you. And so when you asked me earlier, you know, what was it that I did to really quail and really get into my mental health? That was the tip of the iceberg. It was getting rid and shedding people in my life who didn't understand their life. I've known my life for a long time and often got told, yo, you do too much. And I had to get around people who were doing more. And I had to, you know, I had to understand that, you know, it was me. I'm responsible for the web that's around me. And so often we have energies around us that's not supportive or conducive. We love these people to death. But it's also to death that will have us if we keep them around us. And it's not to say that they are bad. No, they're just not for us. And we are not for them also. Right? If you're around someone and you're understanding your light and you're growing in your light and they're not growing with you, you're not helping them either. They need to get away from you. Because quite possibly your light is hurting their head for whatever reason. Or your light feels like darkness to them. So it's important to be responsible not only for who you're around and who affects you, but who you affect and how. You know, and so when we're talking mental health, mental wellness, again, it's hygiene. It's every day. And you're never done. No one is ever done. There's no one that's like in perfect mental health. There's no such thing.
You know, you get people to say, you know, the fact that these people have money and wealthy,
no, not at all.
They're happy all the time.
Only broke people say that wealthy people are happy. Because they're reaching for something. Yeah, but no, I mean, and that's why I mean, I would just say broke because you have people who are very intelligent and they're still broke, right? Like I'm from the projects, man. You broke is a joke. You know what I mean? Like that ain't just about your pockets or your mind. It could be your heart. My heart been broke before, right? You walk around with a broken heart. Now you walking around accepting any kind of love. You broke. So broke is broke. You feel me? But when you're broken though.
Right.
When you're broken,
so real.
You're cutting others and yourself, right? And so we have to be aware of whose cuts heal us, whose wounds help us, right? We around each other and you go through something with your moms and your pops, but that affirms for me that, yo, my mother didn't die for no reason, and now I get to help you and support you with your moms. And it reminds me that, yo, you still got a mother. But if that don't happen, in even exchange, then there's no point. If what you're going through with your moms makes me feel dead inside, I can't be around you. And I have to be responsible for that. It's okay. It's okay to say, I love you, but I'm gone. And I'm going to love you over here. Because I got to love me right now. And loving me is about, right now, not being around this or you. Because it's not you, it's the this. It's not the you, it's the this that's hurting me. It's the dysfunction or the disturbance or the darkness, whatever it is. And I get to, with a smile, say, I love you, and I gotta go. And so athletes have to learn that as well.
Yes.
Coaches. Coaches.
Who's that? RM Success has let them know, broke, not just for finances.
Let them know they broke, not just... Yeah, because people seem to think, yo, I could have $27.1 million and be considered rich by American standards, but my wife just left me. I'm broken. And now I spend all my money on chicks that ain't no good and don't really want me because I'm waiting to be chosen. Excuse me. I missed the opportunity to choose myself.
Be a broken person, you know? In general.
All of it. My mind, that's what schizophrenia is. A broken mind, a fractured mind. Right? And so schizophrenia, usually before it gets chemical, is onset of traumas that are reoccurring in one's mind. Doesn't necessarily it happen. And the reason I bring that up is like, for example, when athletes, especially athletes and coaches, right? Just listening to I don't know if you're aware, sure you're aware of the story up at Syracuse with that coach. And I put that on my page with him berating the girls and getting upset. I was at
what is that?
What's his name? Yeah, Quentin. He's being investigated currently being investigated because Syracuse has the highest turnover and transfer rate. And girls are transferring because of complaints of bullying, inappropriate language and taunting, belittlement, and inappropriate text. And so as coaches, right, we can't forget ourselves in the scheme. And that's why a lot of my work is coach focused. It's not athlete centered. There are so many programs that is athlete centered. Y'all don't need mine. The athlete project is for everybody, but it's focused on coaches because I believe that attitude, remember the Titans?
Yes.
Left side, strong side. Attitude is a reflection of leadership, captain. Yes. And so when my babies were, doing all types of things and getting in trouble and getting locked up and getting drunk and getting high, I had to take a look at myself. What is it? What energy? They don't see me doing these things, but somehow they are reflecting these things. So now I have to go back in the lab and what reflection am I putting out there? Right. Yeah, for real. And so coaches like Quentin, coaches that yell and scream, I'm here for the aggressiveness, I'm here for the assertiveness, I'm here for the coach's voice. But we really have to reevaluate what mental toughness looks like and how we coach it and how we distinguish that from the appropriate mental health approach. Because too often the two get confused. Mental toughness is not mental health. One is about personality and the other is about me.
How long have you been fighting this good fight?
How long have you been fighting this good fight? I would say 2007 is when I first started coaching. I got into mental health and wellness for myself in 2014. Okay. You know that story. My girlfriend left me. My mama died. My dog died. I'm homeless and I'm broke. Like, that was legit my entire story. I'm so serious. My mom, my dad passed, my grandfather passed, and my mom passed back to back to back. Then my grandmother sold the house. I was homeless. Then my dog died. Yo, when my dog died, I was tight. I had that dog since I was 9. Wow. Okay, look, like, Old Country Song was my life. And like I said, my boys, I noticed I had certain boys that were starting to have sex way too early and not being responsible. Hey, I'm all for, pleasuring yourself when you understand the risk and you're aware and responsible, which let me know that they were doing that for the reasons I was doing it as an adult. I had players that were drinking. I had one player in particular that was getting in trouble a lot with the law. And I was like, ooh, this ain't like me. All the things that my kids didn't see, they were showing me. They were doing. It was so crazy. It was like I had a double life, but everything that was going on in my other life was happening to my kids. So I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't ignore the times I was always getting locked up. I couldn't ignore, the things that I was doing in the street that I really didn't need to do. I thought I needed to do it to survive, but I didn't really need to do it. And it showed up in my kids. Regardless of not whether I showed it to them or they saw me do it, the things that I was hiding showed up in front of me. And that, for me, was a major shift. I wanted to be a better coach. And so I gave up. I had 3 AAU teams. I gave them all up. And I started coaching at Columbia Prep. I said, you know what? I'm going to do a change because I'm tired. I'm tired of not being seen. I'm tired of a lot of things. Right? When you get tired. Right? Like my homegirl Shaka say mirrors. Yeah, my kids were definitely my mirrors. Attitudes, a reflection of leadership. And although there were things I was hiding from them, they were showing me. And that alone was enough for me to say, I have to get better. I took a mental health first aid in 2015 for youth, and it changed my life. Because I was like, I need this for me. I was like, well, girl, I need this for me. Positive Coaching Alliance. Shout out to PSA, and they filling emotional cups. I said, well, damn it, who's going to fill a coach's emotional cup? Where does the coach go? The young coach that's working in a non-for-profit who's struggling, but out here giving all they got to these kids. And I said, I'm going to create something for us because I'm tired. I'm tired. I know other coaches are tired. And now these kids are going to be tired because they're dealing with tired coaches.
Right, right. I hear that. Wow. So, let's talk about this petition that you have out and that you sent to me.
Yes. So the mental health awareness training petition for coaches specifically, the goal is to get 5,000 to 10,000 signatures. What we want to do at Get Fit Fly Right is really change the approach to mental health and wellness as it is now in sports. We approach it with mental toughness. Coaches tell you, be tough, be confident. Going back in my day, that invalidates, it shrinks, and then it makes the kid not trust you. Coming out of COVID, where everyone is dealing with a pandemic, isolation, higher anxiety, fear baiting from their government and their country, a divisive country at that on the forefront for everyone to see. There is a lot of anxiety and triggering events that are going to happen, and coaches need to be prepared. In the NBA, every team has a clinician. However, most athletes don't go to the clinician. Why? Because the clinician spends 8 years in college. The athlete spends 8 years in the field. A coach is in life with that player. So why are we not giving coaches the tools to be that resource for their athletes when their athletes are most comfortable with them? The thing about the mind is very different from the body, where Americans like to think the body is a one-size-fits-all. Black women are finding out, no. We need to have a particular and very individualistic approach to our care, even on a physical level, but even more so on a mental level. Can we have a structure for how we approach the mind? Yes, but every mind is different. And so, yeah, who knows their players better than the coach on a personal level, right? And so when we talk about mental health and wellness, we're talking about personality, mood, emotion, and performance in the sector of sports. Right? And so coaches are trained on how to coach their kids and encourage them. That's performance. We're trained. CPR, first aid, that's physical. But we're not trained when there's an emotional distress issue. We're not trained. We're not properly trained. We're taught to encourage them, give them pats on the back. That's all for personality and performance. My kid is hanging their head during the game because he missed 3 shots. I'm going to take him out. I'm going to clap it up. I'm going to fill his cup up. Depending. Right? I got some players that play mad. Nah, I'm gonna get in his head right quick. Yo, you owe me push-ups, Cap? Nah. All right, say less, coach. I got you. Versus the player that's like, nah, coach, I'm sorry. There's a different approach that I gotta take with each player. And so that petition is really the first step in getting this awareness training for coaches. We need to be aware of how to recognize the difference between emotional distress and a mental health concern. Because they're very different. Emotional distress looks like anxiety. But anxiety is very different than someone just being emotionally upset. And when it gets to a point where now it's becoming habitual, the behaviors, understanding how our player is reacting and moving, we have to be trained. We have to be equipped to then combat that and intervene with the appropriate support. Even if it's just as much as to say, hey, I've noticed some things and I would like to offer this to you. Are you interested in speaking with someone? Coaches, we don't always have to be the ones our players go to. But if our players, one, see us taking a personal interest in our mental health and our mental wellness in front of them, then they will follow suit. And so my goal with this petition is step 2, an expo. We have so many clinics across this country to get coaches better at offense and running a 5-out and getting them to look like LeBron and Kyrie. But we don't have any training for coaches to help coaches when they're coaching. Coaches lose too. I lost by 71 points in Williamsburg Community Center in front of one of my friends from high school. And I cried. I'll never forget that loss. 92 to 21. I'll never forget. Had to play in
Was that the housing tournament?
Yes! Yes, you already know. 10 years ago. Shout out to Leo, because he yelled at me.
Listen, the housing tournament is one of the most underrated tournaments in New York.
Ever. I miss it so much.
So many ball players came through.
Yo, shout out to Cornell. Shout out to Candace Lindsay. Shout out to everybody at NYSHA. Yo, get this man a trophy, because that was a nationwide tournament. There was no tournament that was bigger than that tournament. That took more kids off the street than that tournament. Because of that tournament, my kids who my first team were predominantly Dominican-born players. I had 3 players that could barely speak English. And because of Nisha, I was able to get them out of Brooklyn, take them to different places and be around different people. And because of Nisha, I had a family, I had a tournament, because I didn't have much money. I had a real tournament that gave my guys jerseys, and every year we were in that tournament. Every year I represented Cyprus in that tournament. And for me, you know, speaking of mental health, it was something that I look forward to. You know, it was something that fulfilled me as a person. It was something that gave me purpose, back to that purpose. But it was also something that made me feel like I was worth something. When I walked into that room and they said, Coach D, I felt like, you know, I had earned my place in this under the sun, you know? And so, again, that second step is this Mental Health Expo. I partnered with Rob Mitchell. Shout out to Rob Mitchell, a.k.a. Sticks. He's from Williamsburg, Bushwick, also went to ED, played at Seton Hall, is now the owner of Cup of Love in Brooklyn. Check it out on Johnson Ave. That's the fam. It's a small world. You already know. People make the world go round. And so he and I got together, and he's been very integral in me being able to get the petition out and still getting it out, just like you. Thank you so much for this opportunity, because with that Mental Health Expo, we're going to be inviting coaches to come out, connect, and learn about mental health and wellness. The goal is to get vendors like New York Psychiatric Counseling Centers to come out, Thrive, NYC Well to come out. We want to get the Trevor Project to come out. Yes, I am family. I represent the LGBTQIA plus community. And I want them to know that they are supported in sports, especially the trans community. I want them to know that they are supported by me in sports, especially because one thing about basketball, it brings any and everybody together. Right now, I'm at an open run in the post BK, and I got girls on the court with boys going in, sweating on the sideline just like us. And so now young men get to respect young women. Young women get to see worth and value in themselves. Adults get the humility of learning from their youth. And the youth get the admiration of seeing themselves and really having that space to learn and grow. Everyone, even the exchange. And that's what the Mental Health Expo will be about. Coaches having the opportunity to connect and learn from themselves what mental hygiene looks like, so then they can then go back and take it to their athletes and implement it in their programs. Shout out to Columbia Prep and Coach Andy Chappelle. I was there for 5 years, and he allowed me to, you know, work and test my 5-3-3 meditation. My artist friends, they did it with me, and they used it for themselves and said, yo, I want to bring this to basketball. And he used that meditation, and they still do to this day, without me being there. And that's the goal. The goal is really after this expo, and you know, I want to make it an annual thing, but to inspire coaches to create an intention, have an intention to have these mental wellness systems and these hygiene practices in your program. And then step 3, I'm going to knock right on whoever makes the policy, whoever makes the rules. We have, in New York City and in the tri-state, we have 4 mandated certifications that all coaches at least at the high school level must have. CPR, first aid, sexual harassment, and head concussion. I want mental health awareness training on that list. We know about the body. If a kid bangs their head, I know how to help them, make sure they're not dizzy, but I don't know how to support them if now they can't play and they're now sitting out and they're depressed because they have a concussion. That's where it stops. I should be able to heal and help their ankle. I should, just like I know, hey, I'm not a heart surgeon, but I know what to do until they get here. I should be able to, hey, I know I'm not a psychiatrist, but I know that this kid needs help more so than I can provide, more than a pep talk is going to give them. And that's really the goal, is to really push policy. Again, change the way we approach mental health and mental wellness in sports. Because we want to enhance the experience for everyone. Everyone on the sideline, the coaches, the refs, everybody. Everybody.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to get into that, because this is very important. And we just want to move to the last segment of our show called the Top 5. All right? Top 5. All right. We're going to start off with an easy one. Top 5 sneakers of all time.
Jordan, so the 5th is the LeBron tools with the straps. Number 4 is Jordan 10. Number 3 is my nines, my black and white Jordan nines. Number 2 is the retro 8s, the Bugs Bunnies. And number 1 all time is the cool gray 11s.
And we know MJ ruled that list right there.
He did. I'm an 80s baby.
Right there.
I'm an 80s baby.
All right. So, next top 5. The top 5 players you ever saw in New York City history. And this is you, nobody else. Top 5 players that you've seen.
That I've seen.
The past, yes.
Ooh.
Somebody's calling you.
Oh, yeah, no, I better get on them. Number 5, Shannon Bobbitt. Number 4, Sebastian Telfair. Number 3, Stephon Marbury.
Another Lincoln dude.
Number 2, half man, half amazing.
My God, Ben. Salute.
And number 1 that I seen play on the court and he blew my mind was Jamal Tinsley.
Woo! Mel Tinsley.
And this was when I was young. He blew my mind.
Salute. Best style on Mel Tinsley. Woo! Got 2 guys for Lincoln and my God, Ben.
Can I get an honorary mention?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to get another female on that list. I don't think she played no more, but when I was younger, I was like, oh, she type nice. She reminded me of Shamika Holsclaw. Her name was Tiffany. I'll never forget her. I don't remember her last name.
Okay,
but I wanted to put her up there. And we'll put Lamar Odom out there. I watched him play in Williamsburg.
Hello, Queen.
I watched Lowe play in Williamsburg.
That's right. Okay. So now, I'm going to ask you, top 5 hip-hop artists.
Oh, that's easy. That's wild easy. Number 5, Rakim. Number 4, Big Daddy Kane.
Woo!
Number 3, all right. Number 3 is tied for Nas and Jay-Z. 2.
Okay.
2 is Styles and number 1 is Big.
Styles P.
That's number 2. Styles is my favorite rapper. Facts. Styles is my favorite rapper, but Big is the best rapper ever of all time.
Just do, but I'm gonna let you know, Styles P, the hardest one in the game.
The GOAT. That's a fact. But Big is the best of all time. The GOAT forever. Fact. And I'm saying that. And from Brooklyn. I don't care. You from Brooklyn. You picking Big. Yup.
B-I-G.
B-I-G. P-O. P-P-A.
That's
okay?
Right.
Come info. No info.
That's right. All right. So now, the last one, I'm going to pick your brain for. Top 5 athletes to overcome mental illness.
Ooh.
Now I can use some help with this. Top 5 athletes that overcame mental illness.
I would say number 5, I would put Kevin Love. Number 4.
Okay. Fact.
Number 4, Michael Phelps.
Yes.
Number 3, Liz Campage.
Yes.
Number 2, Delonte West. His story is powerful. Okay. And number one, Dominique Williams.
Yes. What? Tell me something about Dominique. I don't know.
Dominique loves golf. When I couldn't play basketball, I learned how to play golf because I couldn't bend my knees too crazy. And I learned that, like, sport, the reason why it means so much to me is because athletes, you know, we have this term called elite. Any person who is disciplined, consistent, and grinding is an athlete. Anybody. And whatever you doing that with, you athletic. Now, and we ain't talking in a physical space, I'm in a philosophical one. For me, you know, something a lot of people don't know about me is that I love a lot of sport. Like, I love all sports. I would play all sports: soccer, football, tennis, golf, baseball, softball, tag. I love it all. And for me, it was, I didn't see myself as an athlete no more because I wasn't a ball player. But I work out, I ride bikes, I hike, I play golf, I play ball, I play football when I can, you know what I mean? And I think that we get to redefine what it is to admire an athlete and what that athlete can look like. You know, yes, it's great to admire LeBron, but I greatly appreciate those who admire Coach D and see her as an athlete.
No doubt, no doubt. My guy, my official sponsor, Game Over.
Yes,
Eric
Mike,
Hicks.
Coach Mike, Coach Anderson.
Yeah. He said
I'm
she's no joke, much respect. Salute.
That's a
Eric
fact. Love you, baby. Love you, Coach.
Hicks. No doubt. Now listen, you have a nomination, right? That means you can nominate somebody else from New York to be on the show.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it in the family.
Right?
I'm gonna
So
nominate.
you already mentioned someone, your partner. You can nominate as many people as you want, but definitely want to holler at your guy who's backing you with the petition.
Yes. So Rob Mitchell definitely. Six, yes, but Rob Mitchell. And so for those with the petition, speaking of, the link is in my bio, and my link tree is sign the petition. We're gonna have flyers. You're gonna see them at different places, like the Post, like at Bed-Stuy, at the Star Dome. You're gonna see them all over. They have the QR code. Shout out to Couple Love and Rob Mitchell, because he also has a sign-in petition in his store. So there are ample ways for you to sign that petition. Sign the petition, sign the petition, sign the petition. I also nominate Sally Lamani, the director of U.S. partnerships at Peace Players. Keeping it in the family. She's someone very influential in sports-based youth development, and really doing a lot of great work for the kids where I come from in Brownsville, East New York. And she's one of the real ones. You know, she's not someone that's coming in the hood and just, you know, coming in and going. Like, her heart is there. And I think people like that always deserve a platform. And then next, Khalid Alford, my man Kai, does a lot for the community. He has a tournament with my man Light coming up called Williamsburg Round Ball Classic. And so, again, talking about what we're doing in the community, that community hasn't been touched in a while. And so these are brothers from high school that got together. One has a clothing line, and the other, Kai, is just a legend in the basketball game. He's touched every part from coaching to commentary. And he's somebody that definitely, you know, always is looking out for me, so I always want to look out for Kai. So, yeah, Sally, Lamani, Rob Sticks, Mitchell, and Coach Kai.
No doubt. Just give me the information.
I got you. I'll send it.
Tonight, my artist, he just get back on vacation, but I'll forward him your picture, so we'll get that artwork to you sometime in the future, all right?
I'm here for it. I already appreciate you, family. I love you for free.
Thank you. Love you too. Always.
Many blessings.
Keep doing what you're doing and keep inspiring the youth. All right? Turn the camera around so we can see the kids. There you
Then
go.
they're getting ready. Sally, say what up.
He's doing work for real.
Sally Lamani, Basketball Heads Podcast. Yeah, she's like, oh, who you got me? Look at, she just got finished playing ball. Yeah, my goal is to inspire the youth, but I want to inspire the coaches. So I want to say that I hope I inspired you tonight. I hope that I inspired other coaches that are listening, people who want to get into coaching. I am inspired by coaches. I am inspired by these players, and they inspire me. So inspiration all around for everybody. I thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. Have a good one.
Blessings.
All right. Oh, man. Listen. You never know who you might hear on Basketball Heads. I like to touch all aspects of sports. Well, basketball, that is. But when you're dealing with mental health, that touches all aspects of sports. Kids, adults, coaches. If you need help, reach out to someone. And if you're tired, just know that you're tired. And move on. And hopefully, you can turn out the way that you always dreamed to be. A success. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding, and you've been watching Basketball Heads, the official home for New York City basketball. Peace.